Everyone's favorite dysfunctional family, the Umbrella Academy, is back. Well, maybe not everyone's favorite dysfunctional family, because I feel like if you say, like if you look at most shows, there's a very good dysfunctional family in most good shows. So let's say everyone's 6th to 8th favorite dysfunctional family is back in the Umbrella Academy. And this is my spoiler review for season 3. Sentient talking monkey that's now a biker and a tattoo artist, and he's on the motorbike? Yes, please. A new main character that's just a floating cube, shoots lightning or something, and every time it talks, we can't hear it, but everyone's like, ha 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 ha, oh, Christopher. Very Chewbacca kind of S, where everyone can understand him, even though he's just like, yes, please. Other nonsense madness? Yes, please. So this season is easily our most intimate and emotional and personal story. It feels quite different in ways to season 1 and 2, the way it kind of really focuses on the family kind of side of things, and that just kind of emotional journey of all the characters kind of going like, what is family? What does family mean to me? In all different kind of ways, and it really focuses on found family, which the show has always done. But this season, it really kind of clicked in my brain what the show is. And yes, we have the same stuff that happened in season 1 and 2. We've got the time travel. We've got the end of the world. We've got an apocalypse. We've got some crazy shenanigans and very silly fighting and action and all that kind of stuff. But this season really kind of focuses in on the characters in a way I feel like the others didn't. Or maybe it's just that I love these characters now, and so it's all kind of gelling and coming together. But I found kind of all the themes of family this season just really powerful, really like, I don't know, very emotional, and I don't know, I feel like in season 2 when they're like, we've got to stop the end of the world, and I'm like, that was the plot of season 1, we're just doing that again? Okay, sure. But now it feels like it just makes sense in my brain. I'm like, yeah, sure, that's just what happens. Each season, the end of the world is coming, there's a bigger apocalypse of whatever, and they've got to do some time travel shenanigans, but really, that's just like the backdrop. It's just like the setting. It's just the table dressing. It's all the cutlery and whatever. But the meat of the story, your lamb shanks and your roasted potatoes of the story. I feel like this metaphor, it's getting out of hand. The thingy, the juice of the story. There's juice now. Juice at dinner. That's not working. It's, you know what I'm saying? The thing the show is about. It's themes and ideas of family. It's just really powerful. It's really beautiful. It's done in so many fun, different, interesting ways. I feel like there's some really great kind of, I don't know, little arcs here and there, and it all feels really tight. I feel like last season they were all a bit, separate, and it came together. I mean, I guess that's in design, but this one, it felt like they're all there together and having like the Sparrow Academy and kind of versing off. And at first I'm like, oh, that first fight was a bit cringy and a bit like, I don't know, the staging of it all and the new characters. I'm like, oh, I don't like Matrix Lady with ravens or whatever. Some of them are like a spitty lady that made them do a dance sequence right at the start. I just felt a bit like, well, you're coming off really strong, Umbrella Academy, and it kind of tones down that, like, it's zany and it's quirky. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for quirky, zany, wacky shenanigans. I mean, that's why I love this show. Literally, Christopher is just a cube thingy. And the last season with that guy who was just a fish tank for a head or whatever, and the little fish is floating about. I love all that crazy, insane stuff. Jojo, he's on a motorbike. He's a motorbikey tattoo man monkey thing now. Love it. Love all that insane stuff. But I feel like right at the start, when they're like, look how many new crazy powers there are, there's just all the quips and the fighting. It was all just a bit like, oh, I think maybe they're trying too hard to be quirky and fun and zany. And then it kind of dials it back and kind of gets into the root of why the story works and why having the Sparrow Academy is really interesting as kind of like a, it's a mirror image of what they could be. A team that works together. They've got the uniform, but maybe that's not what makes a family a uniform and all being uniform. And I don't know, I found it a really compelling kind of story as they both kind of went along together, kind of mirroring each other in kind of different ways and kind of showing the good parts and the bad parts of each family as they kind of learnt and grew and kind of interacted with each other. So I actually found that really, really great. Although I do have to say my favorite part of the season was the back half when most of the sparrows just kind of get killed by the big Guggen Flux thingy or whatever they called it. The big apocalyptic, MacGuffin, the big circly thing was like, pfft. And once that kind of takes up most of the characters, we have the one character, Sophie? I've already forgotten. Luther's girl, and I really liked that kind of connection, and they're like, when they first look at each other, and like, ooh, I find you attractive, and she's like, ooh, who's this big monkey man? And their whole arc, all season, was really, really great. but focusing on her and new douchebag Ben, which was really fun to see him play such a different character, and to kind of focus on them. It kind of made sense why the others maybe weren't working for me, because they weren't intended to be kind of permanent characters, whereas these two really felt the most fleshed out. And then by the end you're like, oh, because they're the only ones that are going to continue on, or at least be in the back half of the season. And so I really did think it worked, as like when that all kind of clicked in those last episodes, when the whole apocalypse is everywhere and they have the big wedding episode. I think that was when it really clicked for me. It's like, this whole, like, episode 8 is just a wedding episode, and it's all the interactions of family drama, of having to bring everyone together for a wedding, and hey, you guys don't like each other, but it's my 2 hours, give me this wedding. And the dad rocks up and everyone's like, oh my god, the dad's here. Oh. And there's so much tension with all of it. I don't know, just fascinating family dynamics. I'm going to say the word family probably too many times, so I do apologize. Have a fun game. Every time I say family, have a shot. You're not going to make it through this 10 to 15 minute video. Oh god, that's for sure. And just like in season 2, I love that in season 3, the dad is back and he's a main character. He's definitely got more screen time this season. I love him and Klaus's whole journey where they play ball bus or whatever he called it, and he's training him. And at first you're like, it's a bit of a twisted father and son version of Catch. But he is training in like that bit at the end where Klaus is all like dancing and he's like, I've embraced that I'm immortal now, just like that other show I was in, I'm immortal now. And all that fun, hilarious stuff as they kind of grew as characters together. And then that heartbreaking, devastating moment where it's like, yeah, he's killed Luther and he's shown a bit of his alien bugness with his, slicer kind of cutty thingy out of his hand, which is a lot of fun. But it was just so devastating to see him just throw Klaus and be like, yeah, you're kind of not, I've used you and now you're done. Go away. And closes the door. I don't know. It's like, as the characters kind of vie for his attention and his love, and they're trying desperately to get this love from this horrible, horrible man, you almost kind of feel the same, where you're like, oh, I don't know, I think maybe he is changed. He's a different dad after all, due to timey-wimey shenanigans or whatever. But no, he sucks. And to skip right to the end, that insanity where they're in a big machine, spaceshipy, I don't even know what the hell was going on. It goes all gold and they're standing on all the things and you're like, oh my god, he needed seven children with the magical baby birth thing. Is that why he always, in both dimensions, he always gets 7? Like maybe he could have got all 16 if he really tried. Because I don't know, I always had the implication he tried to get all of them. And he's like, he only got 7. He only could buy 7 of them. Maybe he got to 7 and went, oh, I'm done. I only need 7. Also, I hadn't really thought about this till right now. How insane is it to think that someone gave birth and instead of a baby, it was a cube? Was it a baby at first and then its powers kicked in and it became a cube? Imagine having your toddler walking about and then you look back and it's just a cube. And you're just like, Christopher, what happened to my baby? The dad stuff, probably my favorite aspect of the season. I think he's a really great actor. I love just his dynamic with all the children. Like when he walks into that wedding, everyone's just like, oh boy, the dad's here. He's such a piece of shit. But I don't know. It's just, there's so much emotion going on there. There's so much power dynamics. And he's just a psychopath. He's just a crazy, crazy man. But he's not a man. We got that amazing reveal at the end of last season where he takes off his head and we see the back of his head or something like that. I feel like we never got a good shot of his face as he's a lizard boy thingy, a lizard bug thing or something, and we get a little, stabby stab. But there were so many moments in those last few episodes where I'm just like, okay, they don't believe him, they don't want to go through the portal into the dimension of doom and go through that tunnel thingy. Show them you're a lizard. And I know that probably would make them all go, whoa, what the hell, our dad's not even a human, he's a lizard. But I feel like there were so many moments where that could have worked to kind of tie the story together, and he's like, hey, you keep treating me like but look, lizard, I'm a lizard man. You gotta help me save a lizard dimension or some shit or whatever the hell is going on with this guy. Because he does kind of pay lip service at one point to 5 and say, I've seen dimensions fall in apocalypses. You've never seen an apocalypse like I've seen an apocalypse. So I guess his lizard planet exploded and died or something and he wasn't able to save it. Or maybe he's got to go back. I don't know. They're keeping it all very, very vague. I'm also confused at the end. So I do, I want to see him take his mask off and all the children be like, ah! Because Luther gets stabbed. But he immediately goes, he's like some kind of bug person. What do you mean you think he's some kind of bug person? He came out of his hands, but he didn't really transform or do anything. Like, he could have thought it was a secret sword hidden in his hand or something. I don't know. It felt like a bit of a stretch for him to be like, it's a bug person. I felt like he knew the face reveal that we saw at the end of last season. Nitpicking. A little bit of a nitpick, but I do kind of wish that we saw some more lizardy stuff with him, because that was kind of one of my favorite moments of last season. Like, that just blew me away. I'm like, oh my god, it's not a person. It's an alien thingy. That's sick. I love it. And we do find out that the reason he was on the moon was to have like his wife or something was cryogenically frozen somewhere on the moon. And in this new timeline that he reboots at the end with all the stuff going on, the nonsense, sci-fi nonsense that I absolutely love. So insane. I don't even know where to start with it. I just loved it all. It was crazy insanity. Does any of it make any sense? Of course not. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to track. But I love how he's reset the universe once again to start season 4. I feel like you could get really annoyed and be like, oh god, another apocalypse, another restart in the universe, another this. Oh, it's just... But I feel like that's just what it is. It's like, it's a character story. You focus on the characters and where they're going. And all that crazy stuff is just, as I said, table dressing. This is the cutlery or whatever I was saying before, And so he seems to have his wife back. And I'm going, is she also like a reptilian lizard lady woman? Or is she going to be a human? And he's like, I love women. I'm a reptile, but I love women. I'm into bestiality. Or I don't know what he would call it. Maybe it's just normal on his planet. I'm like, I'm not judging. This season, Allison almost steals the show. They give her just heartbreaking, devastating kind of backstory of like the universe resets. We've saved everything. Oh no, my child is now like, doesn't exist. Horrible. And they don't just kind of do it and then she goes, well, it doesn't matter because we'll fix it. It's all good. She kind of just goes into this dark place because of course you would. And for a show that's so fun and zany and colourful, and it's all wild and wacky and Five's chasing a monkey on a motorbike and the monkey talks and he does tattoos. It's crazy nonsense. But then it's like, my child doesn't exist in this universe and she never existed and I'll never get her back. And it's like, oh my god! And I know that right at the end she gets her back. But it still doesn't kind of take away from how devastating it is to see Allison go so dark for so long. We get Arden, little boy Arden, he comes back, he's like, I killed everyone's mothers! And he's like a big energy beam of doom. He's kind of the victor of this season. And I don't know, it's very, very insane to kill him off screen. And Allison's like, yeah, I killed him. Like, he was in the trunk, and I'm like, should knock him out, he's bleeding a little bit, but... I don't know, there's a weird feeling in the scene. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, holy shit, she killed him! She killed him! She's not even giving it to the sparrows for the sparrows to kill him. Like, she killed him! And they just keep saying it, and I'm like, whoa, like that. I know that he killed the mums and stuff, but he accidentally did it, so like, it feels like I see where she's coming from, and emotionally I can understand maybe doing that the same. Like, she's just so heartbroken. And to find this out as well, it's too much. It's all his fault. He's gotta die. But the fact she actually killed him, it's like, wow, this show's getting quite dark and serious, for such a fun, wacky, zany show. It really does kind of focus in on some really dark, kind of intense feelings, because usually it's like, I got daddy issues, and I'm sad about it, and it's intense, like Klaus getting locked in the mausoleum with all the ghosts and stuff, and he's like traumatized over it, and it's kind of shaped him as a person. But then, 5 seconds later, he'll be like, oh, there's so many ghosts! And he's running about and there's ghosts everywhere. And he's like, I put my magic, I can't stop the ghosts! So it's like, it's riding that line. Whereas Alice's story is just like, Jesus. And like, her just not letting Victor apologize and being like, I do not accept your apology. Brutal stuff, man. Speaking of Victor, I feel like this is the season where I kind of went, hey, I like him now. Yeah, in the first season, I really didn't like the character. It just kind of felt like I knew what was going to happen. And at the end, I'm like, oh, that's the twist. Oh, yeah. Season 2, okay. Kind of on the same level as Allison, where I'm like, I'm not loving the character, but they're fine. Like, I'm not hating them. But this season, really liked it. Really liked the character. But also that transition into Victor was done, like, really tastefully. Like, such an interesting kind of way to be like, art imitating life and kind of going, hey, this has happened to the actor. Should we like do something? Should we address it in any way? And they do, but it's not like this big, showy thing. It just kind of happens. And then he has a couple of interactions with all the family and it's really sincere. It's really beautiful. It feels kind of subdued and low key in kind of a really nice way. And I don't know, maybe because of that, the character and the actor seem like they're actually doing a better job this season. Maybe I just like this season more because I like all the characters and I've kind of come to grow and love all of them. But yeah, all that stuff I thought was really, really well done. I don't know why I was so surprised it was well done. I feel like maybe if they didn't know how to handle it properly, they might not have done it at all. So it's not, and it's just good. Victor still makes kind of the most insane choice of the season. I don't understand he like did that to Arden as a little boy, so feels guilty, withholding the fact that Arden killed their mums. Way too much. Like That's kind of unforgivable. That's about as unforgivable as Allison killing Arden. But, you know, I found that really complex and interesting, and all those things. But now to Klaus, everyone's favourite, mostly shirtless man who's running about being like, I'm immortal! God damn, I loved all of that so much. And now that Klaus is God of Death, or as he likes to put it, the Prince of Darkness, which is so good. Just love it. Love the kind of, like, it's like the growth of the power. And at first it's just like, he sees ghosts and he commands ghosts or whatever. But now that Ben is like new, different, mean Ben, he can't really kind of do that. So like, how do we change and adapt that? And then how do we make it so it's crazy where he can get thrown around and die and then come back and he's in the afterlife running around on trampolines and deserts and stuff. Just all a lot of fun. Although I do enjoy that he can die and, you know, there's no stakes there, but I don't really mind there not being stakes because that's his superpower. That's how superpowers work sometimes. But the fact that they killed Luther, that really shocked and broke me after that wedding episode. Just, and they're all sitting there, it's like, this is what I wanted, this was a perfect day, a perfect wedding, everyone coming together. And to kill him, have the dad kill him after they're hugging and embracing, just really powerful. And then to reset it and to have him alive feels a little cheap. I do understand that kind of resetting. The dad comes back as well, he gets cut, there's a bit of alien goo-goo coming out of his brain, so I guess they all know he's an alien now. But I just feel like, yeah, with Luther, it's like, oh, that really worked for me to kind of hit me, like, just powerfully to kind of go, hey, someone can die. This family isn't kind of immortal. And I don't really want any of them to die. So it doesn't really even feel like that kind of show. This ain't no Game of Thrones kind of thing. But, yeah, I don't know. Just a bit mixed on him coming back. I'm sure I'll change my mind when season 4 kicks in and it's all fun, happy times. You know, now he's a man. Now he's not a monkey boy. One thing with Klaus that it just kept coming into my mind is like, because he's shirtless a lot of the time. I mean, he's shirtless pretty much every scene, so it just kind of kept coming to my mind. But he is like, he's a skinny boy. That man's a skinny boy, just like straight down. No fat on him at all. And I just kept thinking like, I feel like such a, you know, like one of those old school grandmas. You know the type, the one that's always like, you're so skinny, young man, you're so skinny. Like, and she's like touching your cheek and she's like, I've got to put some fat on you. Have some bread, have more food. And they just keep feeding you and they're trying to, you know, fatten you up a little bit. And I just kept thinking, that man doesn't look like he's had a slice of bread. Like, are his parents feeding him? Like, what's going on there? He's either like never had KFC or a beer ever before, or his metabolism is just through the roof. It's just, now I'm saying it, I sound jealous. I sound very jealous. I'm not jealous. Maybe I am jealous. He's a skinny man. Another character that I never really loved, but, you know, enjoyed. I feel like this season made me kind of appreciate all the characters that I thought were kind of in the low tier part of the family. But Diego was just kind of budget Batman, as they call him. He's like throwing knives and all that stuff. This season, with him getting that kid, amazing. I loved it so much. Like him being so angry. He's like, how dare you give me this kid? I want to deal with this kid. And them slowly growing to love and care for each other. One thing I really didn't like though was towards the end, she goes, actually, Stan's not your kid. Just a big prank. But I am pregnant, but a big prank. So, and then Stan disappears in the Gugum Flux. And I understand at the end of the season, it kind of wipes everything away and it gets reset. And the reset would kind of get rid of Stan anyway. But yeah, I don't know, something about that really annoyed me. It was just kind of like, I love this little kid as his kid. I love their dynamic. I loved all of that stuff. It was some of the funnest stuff. Him coming in with the bomb and he's running about. He's like, and he lights the thing on fire. Him accidentally killing Klaus with the bloody gun. Like, just, I don't know. All of that stuff was so insane and crazy. And seeing Diego kind of deal with it. And, you know, I don't know. Just that dynamic really worked. I feel like it brought everything out of Diego that I felt like the character was maybe missing. And maybe why I wasn't really able to emotionally connect with him. But this kind of, I don't know, it was all that to do with family again. And like, can I be a parent? What does it mean to be a parent? And all that kind of stuff. And I like that kind of jumping in where it's not a baby. He's already a little boy. He's like a young man. So he's got to like figure it out really, really quickly. Like he can't have 3 years as the baby grows up to like figure it all out. He's just thrown into the deep end. And I really like that. And I really like the actor who played Stan, the little boy. But no, just a prank. Just a weird prank. So 5, once again, is an utter delight. He's definitely not the young boy he was on that first season. But, I mean, he still kind of, like, looks the same. He's quite short. He still has that young vibe. The little schoolboy outfit thing really works still, even though he kind of puts on a big boy suit at one point. He's just so much fun. I love his character. He really does this incredible job of making you like forget that he isn't like 70 years old or whatever. It's like actually a child performing. It's a wonderful job. He's really, really great. We do get a lot less, and by a lot less, I mean essentially none of the commission and any of that craziness, except for that one part where he goes into the future and he's like, we're going to meet the founder. Well, I don't know where it's the future, wherever the hell it was, but he meets the founder, and as soon as we see the coffin-y kind of sarcophagus-y breathing apparatus thingy, I'm like, it's going to be him. And I love the kind of half reveal at first, where you see the legs and the skinny bony legs, because they kept referencing the skinny bony legs he's wearing the shorts, and I'm like, it's him! It is him! And then he's like, don't save the world. I'm like, this show is just absolutely insane. I'm loving it so much. It's so much fun. So at the end of the season, the apocalypse is averted. Everything goes back to normal. Maybe. We first see Luther and he's like, I'm not a monkey man anymore. And then Five tries to do his little jump thingy, time travel jump, and he can't do it. And so essentially they don't have powers anymore. And that doesn't excite me. Like when it's all going crazy in the golden world and there's the blinker and they're like, don't click the blinker. It's just like, I'm going to click the blinker, and it goes like cuts to black for a second. It's like, oh my god, what's going to happen in this universe? Like, what's going to be the little tease for season 4? And the tease is that they don't have powers. Not very compelling, not very interesting. I don't really like when a story does this. It's like, the whole fun of a superhero show is that it's telling all these human stories about family and blah, blah, blah. Family, you heard what I've said. But, you know, through the lens of time travel, apocalypse, and superpowers. Like, all their superpowers are just like a fun kind of visual, colourful way to kind of explore these human kind of things. And the idea of just all of them losing their powers, it makes me go, when I binge all of season 4 in one sitting, whenever the hell it comes out in a year or two, I feel like those first 2 to 3 episodes, I'm just going to be like, get to when just they all get their powers back. There'll be that kind of obvious moment of like, this is actually so great. I'm not a big monkey man. Hey, actually not being able to jump through time and stuff, that's pretty cool. I actually don't want to be immortal. It's giving life a new purpose. And then it's starting to change. It's like, oh man, I really miss being able to throw those knives real good. Oh, this or that. Oh, I wish I could jump from here to here to here. Oh, I wish I was a big monkey man. I feel just like a normal man now. It's not fun. I like being unique. We're gonna go. It just kind of feels obvious. It feels kind of, I don't know, maybe they'll surprise, delight, and, you know, wow me with their use of not having powers. But it really just kind of feels like, that's what you decided. The show is so visually crazy, and the stories are so insane and creative and wild. I feel like it's a bit lackluster to be like, and now they don't have powers. Now all those fun things you loved, no more. I want him to be immortal still. Like, that's the fun of a show like a superhero show. They have powers. Don't take their powers away. I don't know. Just kind of annoyed me. But then we do get a final reveal where it's like, Papa Lizard Man, he's back. Hargrave, Mr. Reginald Hargrave, whatever his name is, he's back. And every building in the city looks like it's owned by him. We do a big thingy up to him. He's got his wife. Is she a lizard lady woman person? Who knows? I don't know. That was really fun. That was like, oh, okay. So he like owns the city now. That's sick. Like, that's a really exciting potential. And then we get our second stinger that reveals Ben's on the train. The train from the start of the season. But I don't know. I was like, is that not a douchebag Ben? Because that would be really fun. I would love to have douchebag Ben and not douchebag Ben together. That would be really, really fun. Also, speaking of douchebag Ben, I loved douchebag Ben. He was so fun. It was great to see the actor flex his acting muscles and be a really different character. I love how they're just like, this guy's a dick. I don't like this Ben compared to our Ben. Our Ben was so cool. He's such a prick and kind of a monster at times. Like that bit where he's squidding that lady, you know, in the training. And you could really see he's kind of like a mean-spirited human being. And then that moment at the wedding where he's like, what, I didn't get invited to the Bucks? Like, the world has ended. I'm the only man in the world not invited to this Bucks party? That's bullshit, man. And I don't know, that moment of the character realizing, oh man, maybe I am a dick. Why do they hate me? Because I'm a dick. And he gets really drunk. He starts being friends with them all. But then when he wakes up in the morning, he still kind of reverts back to douchebag Ben. And I found that really, really great. And so I'm interested to see where that kind of goes to next. Especially if we do get good Ben back. So we have good Ben, bad Ben, or mean Ben, or whatever you want to call him. I think that would be really, really fun kind of dynamic. Yeah, I'm kind of glad the rest of the Sparrows didn't make it. And it's just mostly Ben. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know what everyone thought of Season 3 of The Umbrella Academy.